Hello, it's your girl Belinda Oju, and it's been a minute. And I can say that I have missed you all. Even if you don't acknowledge, I'm sure that you've missed me as well. So today I'm just going to say that over the years, I have been on a journey of self-discovery and purpose. Interestingly, I'm not the only one who's been on this journey. I've had friends, family, colleagues in the recruitment space, in the employment space. So you keep hearing people say stuff like, what am I supposed to do? What am I on earth for? What am I called to do? What am I passionate about? What's my purpose? And this has been the key or the foundation through which I have decided to go on this journey of self-discovery and purpose. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So relax and just sit back and listen, and let's share ideas, let's share our opinion, let's share different things that we think about this. So I'm going to go straight into it. Before we even talk about or define what's your purpose or what's this, I'm going to summarize it and say that one key ingredient in this pursuit of self-discovery is knowing who you are. Take a break, take a pause, take a breather. I know that somebody's going to just be there saying, we hear these things all the time. Kiniko, kiniko, everybody's telling me, go and find out who you are. No, that's not in the context that I mean it. I know that you are this person, or you know that I am Belinda. You know that I am Uju for some people. Some people know me as Belinda. You know that I am a woman. You probably know my age for some people. You know me as that. But who really am I? Now that's a question for you. Who really are you? Except you have discovered who you are, it's practically impossible for you to discover your purpose. It's practically impossible for you to discover yourself. And I don't want to be ahead of myself, but you will need to meet you before the world and anyone else can meet you. We'll talk about that later. So back to it. You need to know who you are. And I'm going to create a box of who you are, and the content inside this box of who you are is going to be your interests, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your values. We're just going to put these contents in this box. So now I'm saying this and somebody's just going to be like, I know who I am. I know that I like dancing. I know that I'm this. I know that I'm that kind of person. I love, I'm this. You hear a lot of things, but have you really asked yourself, when people come for interview, whether I am in the hiring panel or I am opting to be hired, you hear questions. The panel is always going to ask you, first thing, let's meet you. Next thing, tell us about your strengths, your weaknesses. And you know how you've settled down, you have rehearsed for the interviews. You know how it is now when you're applying for a job, you've rehearsed all night and you're like, when they ask me my strengths, even though those things are not your strengths, you're just saying them because you want to get the job. Now the question what we're concentrating on today is, who really are you? You're not in front of any panel. You're just in front of yourself. The panel is you. So the truth about who you are can only be told by you. So I'm going to be using myself as an example. So I know myself. So I'm going to be the bone of contention right now. I'm going to be the center of it. So just flow with me. So for interest, remember I said interests, strengths, weaknesses, and values. So for interest, what is it? I'm not going to waste too much of our time. Personally, the things that interest me naturally, this is very important. The things that interest me naturally, I'm interested in conversations, listening to people. I'm interested in learning. I like to listen to people. I like to engage in conversations. So you would see me watching a preaching. You would catch me listening to somebody talk. You catch me listening to an FM radio station, things like that. I am interested in that naturally. And I like to speak. So I would rather engage in free or voluntary speaking services. Now, these are my interests naturally. They are the same thing, it's my strength. Interest becomes my strength. This strength is, I would just put it, expressing my knowledge or expressing knowledge of anything vocally. That is a strength for me. And I'm going to take us through some stories. So I was saying to myself before I made this presentation, I was saying, I remember that when I was in secondary school, in high school, whatever it is you want to call it, I wasn't the best student, right? I wasn't the top of the class kind of student. I was almost like the very stubborn student, suspended, gone on suspension. You know, I was not that student who the school would want to publicly do anything with. And I just realized that when, I think I was in JS3 or in some class, and then you needed a woman and a guy to speak. The class needed to have representatives to speak on a particular topic. And when it got to that point, when it gets to anything speaking, the person who's going to come to your mind would be me. When it comes to mathematics, it comes to any other thing, I may not be the person on your mind. But when it comes to speaking, when it comes to debate, when it comes to things like that, that same person who may not have been the best in math, best in English, or best in anything that there is, was very good at speaking. And I say this naturally. It comes to me naturally, default. And this has transitioned over time, even into my pursuit, my career, the things that I'm doing or have done. You would see, if you go through, if you know me, if I have been good to you, because I know some people have a good perception about me and some other people have a bad perception. It's okay. Whichever perception you have about me is not very relevant now. What you need to know is that if I have been good to you, it will be 90% that it was in what I said to you, how I motivated you via my words. If I have been bad to you, which is going to be the center when we get to weaknesses, it'll be what I also said to you. But now I'm focusing on the strengths. I now went into a profession that gave me the opportunity to express myself vocally. Law, HR, acting from time to time. Don't worry, I haven't blown, but we're all there. Once in a while, when I get the opportunities, I get to do these things. And what else is there? Languages, we're going to get into all of that. But what am I saying? You would have to look into yourself for those things that come to you naturally. When you're sitting before a panel, like I said, there are not so many job opportunities in this part of the world where we live. So it's really, you just want to adjust to whatever questions they're going to ask you, but you need to know who you are. Now, weaknesses, right? Remember that I said my strength is in speaking, expressing myself, expressing knowledge vocally. It's the same thing with weaknesses. When I am upset, you wouldn't want to hear me speak to you or speak to anyone, which is a weakness, which shouldn't be. If I didn't mention as a strength, let me say this, that you can hardly win me in an argument. Needless to say that I am a lawyer, even though I'm not actively in litigation. But you can't. I haven't really met anyone who has won me in an argument. Now, this may be a thing of pride in the corporate space, but becomes a thing of weakness in family and relationships. So the same thing that has interested me over the years and still gives me the strength. So you hear my colleagues, you hear my friends, you hear people in the workspace. You hear when I'm on a stage and they're like, wow, you're so courageous. And I'm just looking in my head, I'm like, it's not really that deep because this thing comes to me naturally. You're going to understand me. I'm going to be able to educate you. I'm going to simplify the knowledge. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be intriguing. My voice alone is very intriguing. It's captivating. You know, I can be talking and everybody's going to turn to hear who is speaking. But on the weakness part, it's intimidating. So when it comes to family, when it comes to relationships, I have to watch it. I have to understand that even though this is a strength in the workplace and in my career pursuit, I don't always have to win an argument when it comes to friends, relationships, family. I don't always have to win an argument. I'm a lawyer in the workspace, but I am me. I am a better person. I'm a calmer person in family and relationships. I've lost a few good relationships on the basis of this same thing that we're talking about. So this is 4 strengths and weaknesses. So it's important. Values. My key value is resilience. I am not one to give up on life or give up on anything. If I believe in something, I'm going to go for it 100%, regardless of the challenges. I also have other values like discipline, commitment, respect. So you will need to identify, I've just identified to you that my key value is resilience. I am not intimidated in the face of danger, in the face of challenge. It doesn't matter. It knocks me out. I don't get this. I'm going to get back up again. For instance, I haven't been on this space. I haven't exactly been doing this work for a while, or doing it privately, because life's been happening. A lot of challenges here and there. But I'm not going to let it pull me down. I'm going to have to stand strong, remotivate myself, and get on the journey of the work that I was called to do. Having said this, in summary, and before we get to our episode 2 on another day, I'm going to ask you that as we pursue, as we're in this journey of self-discovery and purpose, I would want you to take a mirror, take your phone, take a moment and find out, who are you? What are your natural interests? What are your strengths? You're not going for any interview. You are meeting you. What are your weaknesses? What are your value systems? These things will help you in the pursuit, as they are helping me, because we're all on this journey together. It will keep getting clearer in the process, but it will help you as it's helping me to go through this life together. Okay, so having said this, please subscribe to my channel. It sounds like motivational speakers now. I feel like, well, please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, likes, everything. Let's have this conversation. Ask a question if you want to. Second episode is going to be skills and talents. I can't wait to get on this with you as well. Everything we're going to be discussing is going to be around self-discovery and purpose. Have an amazing time. Thank you.